harm in that." "Course not." Rose smiled eerily at him. "But you're here, aren't you? Because of what happened with Master Garlow." Scowling, Noel jutted out his chin. The prank didn't hurt anyone. It was harmless. All Noel had done was convince a group of boys to splash ink on the teacher's garments in the clothes press, whilst Noel distracted Garlow outside his rooms, using some nonsense questions about Latin verb declension. When they'd been caught, it had come out that Noel had been the one to come up with the prank. The other boys had been flogged, but this special punishment had been given to Noel, who lost a half-holiday to languish in this infernal library. "Do you know how much togs cost, Claire?" McCameron asked. Noel snorted, then, "I don't, in truth." "It's at least 3 months' wages." This astonishing statement came from the usually timid Holloway. A flush stained Holloway's cheeks, but he continued. "Master Garlow's clothes were already threadbare. I noticed his cuffs and collars are frayed." "So it's a benefit the Beak has to buy new things," Noel said, though uncertainty wound down his back. It was a new sensation, and he didn't care for it. A few months' pay is a trifle. "When a man's got almost nothing," McCameron said, "every halfpenny matters. I know this. Second son, remember?" He tapped his chest. "That's why it's the army for me." "Don't bother with your prattle," Curtis jeered at McCameron. "We're nothing to him. He won't remember a damned word we say. If it's not flattery, he's got wool in his ears." It felt as though someone had hit the back of Noel's head with a shovel. Everyone, even his father and younger siblings, continually praised him. Not these 4 boys. "I don't understand." Noel got to his feet and looked at each of the boys in turn. "Why are you saying this to me? Don't you want to be my friends? Like everybody else?" McCameron surprised Noel by grinning at him. "If you're looking for arse-lickers, seems like you won't find any here." "Every society has a ruler," Holloway stammered, "and every ruler needs honest counsel." "Or else he finds himself with a knife in his back," Curtis guffawed. "How about it, Claire? You going to take the batting out of your ears, or are you going to—" He mimed getting stabbed from behind, gurgled, and slumped over his desk. Rose snickered, and Noel got to his feet and looked at the boys. He hadn't realised it when he'd walked into the library this morning, but perhaps these very different blokes might be precisely what he needed. Chapter 1. Wiltshire, England, 1817. Jessica McGale didn't thrive on chaos, but she certainly knew how to manage it. "Be sure to let Powers know that her ladyship will overnight at the Three Graces Inn in Basingstoke," Jess said to Penny, Lady Catherton's maid, as they walked down the length of the portrait gallery. "And make certain that her ladyship doesn't order the roast pheasant. Pheasant never agrees with her." "Yes, Miss McGale," Penny said breathlessly as she trotted next to Jess. With an apologetic smile, Jess slowed her stride. She forgot sometimes that other people didn't move as quickly as she did, or with the same intensity of purpose. "The stay in London will be brief," she continued without consulting the small notebook she kept in her apron's pocket. The notebook was merely insurance that she didn't forget anything important, but Jess's memory was as reliable as an iron lockbox. It had to be. "We'll only need 12 gowns. With the rest accompanying her on the continent, does that dozen include dresses for the daytime?" Stepping into the corridor that led to the back chambers of the manor, Jess resisted the impulse to roll her eyes. Honestly, one would think that the lady's maid to a young and influential widow such as the Countess of Catherton would already know what her mistress required. Jess had been 4 months in her ladyship's employ and was already considered, in the Countess's words, irreplaceable. Within 2 weeks of beginning her work for her ladyship, Jess advised the cook on what to prepare for meals, directed the gardener's activities maintaining the estate's substantial grounds, and ensured that